They had gathered for food at the workhouse, feeble paupers, bent and broken. Fat landlords ease their conscience with paltry food plates that are just a token. These poor peasants are weak and lowly. They are so hungry, everyone. So long as they fill their stomachs, what matter from whence it comes? But one of the old men mutters and pushes his plate aside. "Oh God," he cries, "but it chokes me, for this was the day she died." The landlord stood in horror. Each lady's face went white. Did the peasant refuse his food plate? Am I hearing right? The peasant looked at the well-fed ladies, and eyeing their lords, he said, "I'd not eat the food of villains whose hands are foul and red. Do you think I would take your bounty so that you could smile and think that you have done a noble action with the parish's food and drink?" Last winter, my wife lay dying, starved in a filthy den. I'd never been to the workhouse, but I came to the workhouse then. I buried my pride in kind, for ere the hunger came, I held up my head as a peasant and bore a spotless name. I came to the workhouse crying, "Food for my starving wife, food for the woman who had loved me through 50 years of my life." But what do you think they told me, mocking my awful grief? That the workhouse was open to us, but they wouldn't give out relief. So I clenched my fists together and faced the wintry sky, and I came to her empty-handed and mournfully told her why. I told her the workhouse was open, but she knew the ways of that. Her bloodless cheeks went crimson, and up in her rags she sighed, crying, "I'll spend my last days here, John. We've never been apart. I think I can bear the hunger, but the workhouse would break my heart." Then the room was bathed in glory, and I saw in my darling's eyes that faraway look of wonder that comes when the spirit flies. Her lips were parched and parted. Her reason came and went. She raved of our home in Kyle, where our happiest days were spent. Then she rose to her knees and trembled, fell in her rags and moaned, "Give me a crust, I'm famished, for the love of God," she moaned. I ran from the house like a madman and up to the workhouse gate. Food for a dying woman. But the answer came too late. They drove me away with their curses, and I fought with a dog in the street, and I tore from the mongrel's clutches a crust it was trying to eat. Back through the filthy potholes, back through the briars and bush, up to that lonely cottage, wrapped in an awful hush. My heart sank down on the threshold, and I paused with a sudden chill. For there in the silver moonlight, my Nell lay cold and still. to the blackened ceiling her sightless eyes were cast, and I saw on her lips, now bloodless, my name had been the last. She had called for her absent husband. Oh Lord, had I but known, had cried in vain and anguish, and died in that den alone. Yes, there in a land of plenty lay a loving woman dead, cruelly starved and murdered for a loaf of the parish bread. So when you recall your goodness in your smug, superior way, say what you did to my starving wife 1 year ago today.